The Russian capital, Moscow, has always relied on an air defense network inherited from the Soviet era, organized in concentric rings. Now, several recent images show Russia speeding up the construction of an additional inner ring, with at least 5 new platforms compatible with the S-400 system spread across strategic areas. Some already display launchers and vehicles associated with the system in operation or in the final stages of activation. At the same time, heavy Mi-26 helicopters have been used to lift modules of the low-altitude Pantsir air defense system directly to the tops of tall buildings in Moscow, raising the line of sight of these systems against low-altitude targets. The S-400 Triumph is designed for long-range threats, with radars capable of detecting targets up to 600 km away and missiles that range from 40 to 400 km in range, depending on the type. It handles aircraft, cruise missiles, and to some extent ballistic missiles. The Pantsir system, especially the SMDE variant optimized for drones, operates in the closest layer, like short-range missiles, without the traditional cannons in some configurations, to engage swarms and unmanned aerial vehicles that fly close to the ground or between urban obstacles. These Russian reinforcements indicate the serious concern of the Kremlin's top leadership. Since 2023, long-range Ukrainian drones have been hitting targets on Russian territory, including refineries and energy facilities near Moscow, even the Kremlin itself. Repeated attacks have caused fires, disruptions at the capital's airports, and more recently, a widespread fuel shortage. At least 17 Russian regions have imposed mandatory restrictions on the sale of gasoline and diesel, while dozens of others have reported supply problems. The pressure on Russian energy infrastructure has built up over months of Ukrainian operations targeting the rear and logistics. It was only in June that the situation got out of control. On the 24th, a major Ukrainian manufacturer announced the development of 2 domestically produced ballistic missiles, the first of their kind made in independent Ukraine. 2 days later, the Ukrainian president approved a 40-day operation by his security services to put pressure on Russia. These developments coincided with the identification, through satellite imagery and street sightings, of new S-400 platforms being hoisted and installed in Moscow. The timing suggests that Russia anticipates a more sophisticated ballistic threat, in addition to, of course, the drones already in use. The defense now. The construction follows the principle of overlapping layers. The S-400 forms the outer and intermediate barrier against threats of higher altitude and speed. The Pantsir systems, positioned on elevated towers, embankments, and rooftops, cover the gap against low-altitude drones that exploit urban terrain and the limited line of sight of ground-based systems. This approach partly reproduces the Soviet logic of defensive rings, but adapts the lessons of the current war, with saturation attacks, small and cheap targets, and occasional penetrations that demonstrate the limits of the existing system. To get full access to this video and watch many other exclusives that are not released to the public, do like our members. Become an exclusive channel member for only 7 Rs and 90 R dollar, $7.99 per month. The redistribution of equipment is one of the most revealing aspects. Reports indicate that air defense systems are being withdrawn from other Russian regions, in some cases from areas closer to the front line, to reinforce Moscow, the Valdai region, where Vladimir Putin keeps a preferred residence, and strategic points such as the Kerch Bridge, which connects Crimea to Russian territory. In Moscow, it is estimated that hundreds of S-400, S-500, and Pantsir-type launchers have been concentrated. Each system moved to the capital represents a transfer of resources, meaning less coverage in other sectors. Why this priority now? The capital concentrates not only political, decision-making, and economic power, but also defense industries, logistics, and critical refineries. The Moscow refinery, for example, produces a significant portion of the region's fuel and is relatively close to the center. Protecting these nodes reduces the risk of disruptions that directly affect the Russian war economy and internal stability. In addition, areas associated with Putin and his family have received special attention since 2022, with dozens of additional defensive positions, such as in Valdai. There is another issue that could affect Putin's Achilles heel and irreversibly change the conflict into something much worse. The new S-400 platform was positioned near the foundation led by none other than Putin's daughter, Katerina Tikhonova. This move fits into the pattern of reinforced protection for sensitive locations. An attack there could trigger the most devastating and final attacks against Ukraine. From a military point of view, the reinforcement reflects a tactical adaptation. Ukrainian drones, although low cost, have shown the ability to saturate defenses when launched in large numbers and with smart routes. The Pantsir on elevation gain an improved radar horizon, allowing earlier engagement against low-flying targets. The S-400 adds capability against future threats and greater range and speed. However, this concentration leaves other areas more exposed, a cost that Russia seems willing to pay to shield the center of power. Despite the density of systems, more than 100 documented air defense positions around Moscow. At different times, some recent attacks have managed to cause visible damage, such as at energy facilities. To watch the full video of this analysis, do what our members do. Just become an exclusive channel member for only our $7 a month. Just click here on the Become a Member button. And if you've watched up to here, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments about the impact of these reinforcements on the current dynamics of the contest. Don't forget to turn on notifications for new videos. See you next time.